I so wish Martese Johnson was white. Let me explain what I mean. In case you haven't heard, and by the time anyone sees this video, you'd have to be living under a rock not to know this story. Martese Johnson is a student at the University of Virginia, 20 years old, went to a bar, he shouldn't, he's underage, tried to get served, he shouldn't have, he's underage, used a fake ID, also illegal. The alcoholic beverage control cop stopped him at the door and brought him outside. And what ensued is really kind of crazy, because this young man, admittedly doing something he shouldn't have done, not only found himself on the ground, but found himself slammed onto the ground with a gash in his head that required 10 stitches to close. Even the police admit that whatever he was doing wrong, it certainly wasn't violent, because now they've charged him. They charged him with a crime, disruptive behavior, or interfering with the police, with no force and no violence. So what happened here? Of course, one response, because he also happens to be African American, is this was a matter of race. But it doesn't seem like it was a matter of race, and if we insist on this racial issue, not there aren't racial issues in America, there are, we're going to actually lose this moment to focus on what really happened here, which is cops who lost it. Most cops don't, but this is a wake-up call for moments when they do. And it's not the first time this particular police force, the alcoholic beverage control police at the University of Virginia, have lost it in this way. And the last time, it was a young woman and she was white. They drew their guns. Something is off here, and sometimes in the midst of a story, good coverage should not be ratcheting up and trying to get the story to be about every ill that we confront, but should be ratcheting things down and looking at one very specific issue. So I hope in the days and weeks ahead, the people who are appropriately concerned about racial issues in this country don't try and put that one into this case as well. But instead, they look at what happened to a really decent young man. And all you need to know about him is watch him speaking just after he came out of the emergency room at the hospital, head still swollen, and begging people at the protest rally following what happened to him to be good to each other and respect each other, because we're all in it together. This has to be about we're all in it together, and that somehow the police there at UVA didn't know that. Enforce the law, enforce it strongly, and police need to be supported. But we also need to know that something is wrong when a decent kid ends up on the ground, head split open, because he wanted to have a drink. That can't be right. And that's not a black thing, or a white thing, or a guy thing, or a woman thing. It's a figuring out how to enforce the law without it being a brutalizing thing.